You are a voice to your community, nation, and world. This is the Global Call.
Hi, my name is Adjoa Skinner. I'm 26 years old and I live in Los Angeles, California. I've been doing music for about 20 years, which means I started doing it when I was 6, which means I must really like it. So I'm passionate about it. And I've been living in LA for about 2.5 years, just focusing on music for the past year. And it's been great. It's had its ups and its downs. I've lived on couches. I've lived on other people's floors. And then eventually I realized that no matter where I lived, that as long as I was doing what I loved, it was going to make me happy and life was going to be okay. So I'm currently still living on a couch, but I'm moving into a new place in a couple months, and no one tells you that it's going to be easy when you start doing something that you love. You don't realize how hard it's going to be, but it's always worth it in the end, because if you love what you do and you have a lot of people who are encouraging around you, then keep going for it, because eventually things will break. And so far, things are looking up for me.
Hi, we have a great episode lined up for you today on Global Call. I'm Evangeline Weiner, and we have a wonderful guest with us today, Adjoa Skinner, and she is a performer, and we're excited to have her here with us today. So, hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, Evangeline. How you doing?
Great. How was your drive in from LA?
It was good. I got stuck in the 101 for a little bit. It's a highway that's always jammed, but I guess a lot of people live here, so.
Yeah, traffic. Well, Adjoa, tell us a little bit about how you started performing.
Well, my parents were performers. My mom and my stepdad were both musicians, and my dad and my mom actually met when they were young adults.
Yeah.
And they were both doing theater, and that's how they got to know each other. So it was always a part of our lives. My mom didn't really, we didn't really watch television much. She would either make us paint or go outside or go for hikes, and just doing something artsy all the time. And the way that she got us to eat our vegetables really fast is she would start writing songs at the table and bring out her guitar and start singing songs. We'd be like, oh no, and we'd have to eat faster so we could get away from the table. But I started really young because it was a part of my parents' life, and so I grew up in Western New York in a small town in the suburbs, and so we started doing just theater, musical theater. At a young age, my mom would put me in like Oliver as the baby because she would be doing the makeup on the show.
Yeah. And you were like 2 in The King and I or something?
Yeah, I was the littlest one that went and would go up and bow, and so I don't remember doing this, but it's just what people
So it's always been a part of your life, performing, something that you've always loved doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And you're also a songwriter, and you write a lot of songs. How did you become a songwriter?
Well, I think it was something where growing up being in a musician household, my stepdad was a teacher in piano, and he also would play multiple instruments, guitar, and he sang really beautifully. And so I found that he would ask me to come into his studio and to listen to all different kinds of music, and I would listen to Ella Fitzgerald, who's one of the greatest jazz singers of all time, and early Elton John and Joni Mitchell, and just a lot of really influential artists in my life, and he would just bring me into the room and just make me listen, even classical music, or Keith Jarrett, who's an amazing piano player. He would always have me listen to these different influences, which really, after a while, drew me into the songs. And I wrote this one song called Song of Your Heart for my stepdad, and it was about how he was always singing other people's songs. And I really felt, even as a young girl, that I wanted to share my own story. Yeah. And my first song I ever wrote actually was a country song, which is funny because I'm not a fan of country music.
I love country music personally, yes.
Well, good. I'll sing you the song sometime. But it was, I was 14 and I wrote a country song, and I was so scared to play and sing at the same time that I had my stepdad come in and play the piano, although it was only 3 chords. So it was a very easy song, but I was so scared to sing and play at the same time, so I had him play. But I eventually got over my fears of playing, and I just started performing more and more and writing my own songs, and yeah.
Yeah, so do you feel like songs are like, they're kind of a story of your life, like they play into an aspect of something you went through in your life or into an experience of some sort?
Absolutely. The chorus for Song of Your Heart says, so let the song of your heart come claim its part and take wing when you sing. And I really felt like it was almost like songwriting was a kind of therapy for me. It was like something that would allow me to release my feelings in a way that nothing else could.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a prayer, you know, as my songs were written.
That's very cool. Spoken from your heart.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. So your name's Adjoa,
yes.
and this wasn't your born name.
No, no.
So how did you, you went to Africa for a little while, and this is where you got the name Adjoa, right?
Yeah. I went to West Africa in 2003, and I helped set up a music school there. And while I was there, I was the only Westerner, and I was the only outsider, and so when I came in, I had to adapt to the culture and learn how to make their food and how to live in their lifestyle and sing their songs, and so eventually they named me one of their nicknames, which they nickname people according to what day of the week that they're born on. And so my mentor said, well, you know, what day were you born on? I said, I don't know, because that wasn't important in my culture, but to them it was very essential. And so we found out that I was born on a Monday, and so he said, oh, you're Adjoa, because Adjoa means Monday born.
Okay. So, that's cool. So why did you decide to go to Africa at even the age of 18 instead of maybe a university or some other direction?
Yeah, well, when I was a young girl, my pastor and his wife decided to leave our church and go to Kenya, and I was 6 when, no, I was 10 when they left, and I was intrigued, even as a young girl, and I felt as if there was something always calling me there. And so when I went and auditioned for university, I made it into a really good music school, but I just didn't feel right about it. I felt like I was called to go someplace else. And so with time, I eventually started, I went to an organization, and I trained in Tennessee, and then I actually went to Ethiopia and Kenya as my first African trip. And I was 18, and it was incredible, because it was like, when I was a young girl, I always assumed that I would go to Africa after I was retired and had grandchildren and lived my life, but it was something that came just at the right point in my life, because it really shaped the way I held my values, and it shaped the way that I saw the world. And growing up in a medium-sized town in the suburbs, you didn't see a lot of different people, and so
it helped shape your worldview of bigger than where you were from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think travel does that too? Like, it helps you experience different cultures and different worldviews and different aspects on life? And
totally. If I hadn't gone, I think my entire life I see people so differently now, and for that I feel so blessed and so thankful, because it's helped me to see it's not just about me, it's about people, and whatever kind of idea we have about different people groups, to set aside any kind of prejudices or any kind of preconceived notions that we might have, and really approach a person as an individual and see them for the worth that they have, and honor them.
That's beautiful, because every person has worth and value, and it's awesome. So you're going to play for us an African song that you wrote, and you're playing the djembe.
Yes. Right?
And this song is called An African Drum Jam?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually a combination of songs that I learned when I went to Ethiopia and Kenya. It just whetted my appetite for Africa, and I had actually lived in South Africa near Cape Town the following year for almost a year. And then I was invited to go to Ghana, and so I went to Ghana to help set up the school.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start with an Ethiopian song singing sorry, I'm going to end with an Ethiopian song singing in Amharic. The first song is a Ghanaian song.
Okay.
And then the second song is going to be a West African,
Okay.
or sorry, South African song. So here we go. Da 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 da.
That's great.
Thank you. Do you want to learn?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay.
Looks fun.
This is something in the market that they have in Accra, and these are actually called kachikpo.
Okay.
So you go hit, 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 catch, hit, 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 catch, and you're shaking it while you do it. It's kind of tricky. You bring it between your two fingers here.
All right. Hit, hit, catch. Wait.
It's
Wait, do it again. Do it
okay,
again.
okay. It's really tricky. It took me a long time, so maybe after the show we'll
we may have to.
Almost. Yeah, let's try this one. Okay. So this one you go hit, hit. So there's one rhythm that I learned, but it's another tricky one. But it goes front, front, side, side, back, back, side, front, side, front, front, side, side, back, back, side, front, side.
All right.
But the different, the flat part of the shaker allows it to have kind of a louder hit. So it's fun.
All right, let's give it a try. Wait.
Almost, yeah. It was.
Yeah, without rhythm.
The front, front, side, back, back, front, side. You had it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, thank you for performing that song. That was really great. So, so you wrote that in Africa while you were there, and
I arranged the songs, but they're all African folk songs that.
Okay, so you arranged them from different parts of Africa.
Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting.
I just wanted something that would highlight the different music from the various cultures.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So all of your songs, they come from parts of your life and your own experiences and different things. What's Never about?
Well, When I wrote Never, I was actually getting over a relationship where I really had just a lot of love for the person, and I was coming to grips with the fact that it was a relationship that wasn't meant to be, and it was so hard for me, and it was like it was really, Never was a prayer. It was a time where I was going and I was saying, why can't I have this person to hold? Why can't I have, this person in my life? And it was almost like my Creator was saying, let me love you first. Let me be the first love in your life. And when the right man comes along, I'll show you, and it will be right, and you'll know. And I think that's the thing, like in relationships and in society you see today, everybody's searching for somebody. There's all these Match.com and eHarmony, and everywhere you look it's about, relationships, and especially romantic relationships. And in my own life, I had to come to realize what was a healthy relationship and how to love someone truly in an unselfish way, so that even if they weren't meant to be in my life, that I would love them enough to release them and not hold on to that. Because if you never release a person, you're never going to be able to allow another person to come in into that place. And also just coming to the realization that it's okay to be single. It's okay to be on my own and be independent for a while, and just learn how to grow as an individual, so that when I meet the right person, that I'm mature and capable,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like that a person can fill even that area of your life? Can they truly fill like your heart?
Not completely, no. Yeah. I've come to realize that squeaky chairs and guitars. No. Sorry. I really come to realize that your relationships with your friends are something that you need to have healthy relationships with friends. Like, you can't expect someone to be an all in all. You have to always be communicating with, like, I have a lot of friends that are close girlfriends of mine that if I have issues or whatnot, I'll go to them and we'll talk it through. But I think mainly, like, even when you go through your entire address book on your phone, which I've done, start at A and go down, and I have over 500 contacts on my phone. But even when no one else seems to be there, and it should be the first one that I run to, but it's like if I just go to God and I say, Lord, what are you doing? And because I believe that, if my Creator made me, that He honestly cares about every single aspect of my life.
Yeah,
and that,
absolutely He does.
And that His love is enough, know. And so in this song, Never, it's actually kind of a love triangle, because it's between me and God and this other man, where I'm saying, it's never to hold, never to love, never to be, and this never has been haunting me. Whereas I'm crying out for this person, and yet God's saying to me, no one else can love you the way that I love you.
Yeah.
And so
that's powerful.
That's what this song is about.
All right.
I'm going to take a little drink of this Norman Rockwell cup.
Could I be too soon, or maybe too late? But I'll ask you one more time, if you want to oblige and be so kind, I'd like to listen right here. Sing a song for me, sing me a melody, sing me a tune all afternoon to the
Rockwell paintings.
Oh, he is so good.
He is.
Okay.
Leave the world behind and hold me close forever. Waited all this time, still the distance said never, never to hold, never to love, never to be. And this never has been haunting me, never to have, never to feel, never to touch. And this never is never enough. No one in this lifetime could change how I love you. They lie if they say they love you. Oh, 'cause no one else can love the way that I do. Don't believe them, don't believe them, don't believe their lies. Let me hold your heart and look into your eyes. But it's never to hold, never to love, never to be. And this never has been haunting me, never to have, never to feel, never to touch. And this never is never enough.
And that's not the full song, but it's just a feel of it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. That's an awesome song. Yeah, we got to hear you yesterday performing at a TV, on another TV show. Oh, that's okay. Squeaky
Just
chairs.
squeaky chairs. Here we go. Let me
Bring us
bring it
back
in.
in line.
Hey, that's nothing personal.
But yeah, we got to hear Adjoa yesterday performing on a TV show, and she sang that same song, Never, and you'll be seeing in just a moment a clip from that TV show. And it was, yeah, you did very good. Your band was great, and it was a beautiful song. You're an amazing songwriter. And
Thank you.
yeah. So what with that song, you feel it was, you could really hear that, the interaction between you and God, and even like your desires versus what you felt His desires were.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important in our lives, that we realize like that we can have lots of desires, but then also God has desires for us, and it's like we have to die, you know, even to who we are, and say, God, it's not my will but yours. And it's sometimes a hard decision, because even in that song we heard, you know, your heart and your cry of your heart to really just to have that relationship, but yet you had something stronger pulling on it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a amazing connection there of even that struggle that we constantly have between ourselves and wanting to do what God has. And
Well, it's interesting because I have this like analogy that I think about all the time, and it's chopping at a tree with a dull axe.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if I was chopping at this tree and chopping at this tree, and yes, I could get the tree down with my own physical strength, but it would wear me out,
Yeah.
and I would be spending so much time on trying to chop down that tree that I might lose out on what I'm actually supposed to be doing. And it's almost like there's also seasons where you're not supposed to be working. You're supposed to be resting.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's almost like God was saying, like, wait, no, let me take the axe. And I was like refusing
Yeah.
to give it to him, because I felt like I needed to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And he was saying, let me take the axe from you and let me sharpen it. Let me get it ready for you, so that
Yeah.
during this time you rest and you gain your strength And then when you have your strength back and I finish sharpening this axe, I will give you back a sharp axe, and you will have the strength to get this tree down in one full swoop instead of trying and chipping away your whole life.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. And so we've had a wonderful show today. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your music and your vision and all of that stuff with us. It's been wonderful. And, you know, even today as you've been listening to Adjoa and, you know, listening to this show, even if there's things in your own life, you know, even as she's played songs from her heart, if there's things in your life, in your heart that you struggle with, that you want so bad but that you feel isn't right, you know, even now we would just encourage you to take the time to find those things, to ask God, who does want to know you. Ask him, you know, to show you what's supposed to be in your life. You know, we can have, I heard my friend say yesterday, but that we can have even lots of rules in life, lots of things that rule us, and we do everything regimented, but really genuine conviction is something so much more. And so today, as we leave you, we just encourage you to find the things that are really, the things that you're passionate about, the things that, you know, that are in your heart for who you were created to be, even as Adjoa was doing, to begin to develop those things, to go after those things, because we're here for a greater purpose. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us, and see you later. Bye.
Thanks.